Joe presents Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby, together with Guinness.
Hello and you're very welcome to Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby here on Joe, together with Guinness. First off, I am sweating. I had to run here from the train.
It's fine.
I've got sweat patches just in case it happens during the show. And
who out there, what listeners or viewers do not sweat?
Yeah.
Get off your high horses.
Good point.
We all sweat, especially in show business.
You're looking too all calm and collected. What a weekend of rugby.
Wow.
Oh my God. I always get asked, do you miss it? And I have this, just roll it out. No, I don't. Now I'm over it. And geez, I'm already at the point where I don't know how they do it. They're so big.
You just roll out
so
your template.
Yeah, I sound like an old woman. I'm like, no, or man. But I must say that's hard to watch when you can't be involved in that. And for you, someone so fresh out of the game, did you miss playing on Saturday?
I still don't miss playing.
Horseshit. I call.
No, I'm sorry.
Really?
I'm led to believe. A lot of people I've chatted to recently say that for the first year when you retire, you're kind of naive to it, or you're in like a honeymoon period. And I think I'm still experiencing that. That's why I didn't get the kind of jealousy.
Okay.
But I was living every second out there because it was such a good game. Ulster just need to hold their heads up high.
Roll out the cliches. Go on. Small margins.
I was fully in it with them. I was loving their performance, and it was one of those days where, unfortunately, the best side lost.
Yeah.
Is that a bit controversial?
No. I think on the day...
Is that a bit biased, Stephen?
If you go through the players on the field, I think I went through like 1 to 15. Ulster probably outplayed them. But as Jack Coleman said at the end of the game, that's what it's about, being a championship winning side, being able to not have individually your best games, but still able to grind out a win and take an Ulster team's best performance in years and still be able to win. So hats off to Leinster.
Bing.
Yeah.
Leinster, the way they finished the game was their winners.
Yeah.
And they just get it over the line.
Yeah, 7 minutes ball and play and just holding on to it, frustrating them. And it was so much to talk about with that one. Munster also ground out a win over in Edinburgh. I did even miss playing like games like that, because I find like as you get older as well, and as you're more out of the game, you get more cranky. And I think the age frustration Venn diagram, I think that comes into play. You become this, the way old, like my dad is a lunatic watching matches. I think as he gets older, he gets further and further away from when he played, so he turns into a maniac and just starts screaming at everyone.
He becomes less understanding.
Yes.
As to what it's actually like out there.
Yeah, and he's trying to blame the ref for the players, and then I'm slowly catching up with him with this stuff. Like the two of us watched on the couch.
Yeah, and you're like, you know what, Dad, you're right. You've been right for years. I don't know why I've been defending these guys for so long.
Yeah. So, look, there's loads to talk about in that game. Also, Connacht's tough game on Friday night, and also two other brilliant games in the championship. But let's start with the Ulster one. So you weren't at it; you were at home.
Well, I got home. I was away last week.
Good week.
A brilliant week.
San Francisco.
Yeah, I was over with an accelerator with the business that we've started there, and we met some founders, successful entrepreneurs, VCs. And it's just another world over there. Yeah. I got my eyes opened. It was an amazing experience. Really was.
Yeah, well, that's the hub of it over there, right?
Yeah. So I watched The Matrix on the flight on the way home.
Yeah.
And I noticed...
choice.
Yeah. I'd dried up... It must have been my 7th movie.
Okay.
So 7th down the list.
There was
fine.
all new ones.
You're getting to Matrix.
Yeah.
Territory.
Right. It's either Winnie the Pooh or Matrix.
Yeah. You're the way you and Tommy and Adam Jones and all are giving me a hard time for not saying bad words.
Yes.
The Matrix is like a Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby.
Is it?
So your man, is it Cyrus? He's the guy who turns on them, the guy with the moustache. You look a little bit like Cyrus, actually.
Thank you. Is he cool?
Yeah.
I'm going to totally crap all over this point now in a second, but go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Poo. You're gonna poo on it. He's killing everyone, right? He comes out of the Matrix, turns on them. totally Judases them. He's killing them all.
Yeah.
And the girl on the phone to him goes, "Gosh darn you, Cyrus!" I was like, "That's what I would say."
Yeah, but you know they're edited for flights.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, that's not what they say in the film.
Oh, really?
She would have said,
"Flip off, get sugared."
Yeah,
really?
they edit them for the flight,
because they said
man,
jeepers at one stage as
Yeah,
well.
did they?
Yeah, and I was like, "I say jeepers."
I said jeepers a minute ago, man. You're rubbing off me.
I didn't know that. Is that true?
Yeah, they edit them for the
I
flight.
feel silly not knowing that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
such a frequent flyer, you know.
You're a tourist, yeah.
Yeah, I think they do. I've watched.
You have crapped all over my point.
I told you I would.
You've
Poo-pooed all over my point. Sorry about that now.
You've number 2 on my point.
Was The Matrix any good? Does it stand up to time?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. No, one of my favorites. It's like maybe top 20.
Yeah. It's a perfect film for Keanu Reeves because he's so boring.
Yeah.
Just slot him in.
Yeah.
You need something robotic.
That and John Wick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Ulster.
Ulster and Leinster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the semi-finalists.
Well, look, it was an unbelievable start to the game. Rory Best turnover after a couple of minutes, and then which I thought was a huge, intentional start from them just going balls out, and then big block down from Ringrose clearance and a Treadwell's try. That must have been, for you as an Ulster fan, must have been like, Jesus, this is realistic now.
Yeah. Although at that stage I was, that was early enough to still be in hopeful territory rather than kind of expectation territory. Later on in the game, I was thinking, I was so excited, I was buzzing, screaming at the TV, thinking we're actually gonna win this. This is gonna be massive.
Yeah.
And then Leinster did what they do.
Yeah, but they got so much right. Like the tactics from the start for them. Like we said it over the last few weeks, we've always said it. We've kind of been like, they keep the ball, and they need to keep, and to beat Leinster, you need to keep the ball away from them, right, and frustrate them.
Yeah.
Dwayne Peel said something when he came on the match commentary. He said, "We just got to play what's in front of us," which I thought was brilliant as well, because they seemed to get that right. The balance of they'd exhaust all their options, phase play. They'd show with a carry, or they'd show with a hard line off Burns, out the back off Burns. Cooney would have a dart. But then when they'd exhausted it, they'd put up a really good box kick, or Burns would kick really well, contestable. And
there's a nice little tussle with Adam Byrne and Jacob.
Wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought both of them played brilliant.
Yeah, they did actually, yeah.
Like,
both of them were so accurate in the air.
Yeah.
Just colliding with the ball.
Yeah, it kind of looked like they targeted Adam Byrne, but like he's one of the best under the eye ball.
I didn't realise he was so good. I've seen him a few times, but I didn't realise he was that good. I mean, Jacob's, well, I'm sure he's taller than him, and he's very athletic, gets in the air, very good aerial skills, and yeah, they kind of went...
tit for tat.
Yeah.
Must have been like 3 occasions where the two of them had the ball at the same time, and just wrestling over it. Like, and as you said, like they both went up perfectly. There was no one taking anyone out in the air, or getting their timing off.
Rugby was the real winner.
It was.
High ball receptions were the real winner.
And even Mike Lowry was getting involved as well.
Oh,
how class is he?
He is brilliant.
Yeah.
He was class.
Yeah.
And he looked, and I'm not sure. Did he play against the Kings last weekend? Anyway, back from a bit of a break after the concussion. Because he throws his weight around. That wee fella, he's tough, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
And he looked like he was just picked up.
But he's reading the game as well. Do you remember that one when Furlong put in got the turnover and booted the ball with a left foot the length of the field?
Yeah.
Like he kicked that pretty far.
Yeah.
And by the time the ball had been turned over, Lowry had gotten back the distance and caught the ball on the full. It didn't even bounce. Like he just read it and was like, that was in probably 60-odd minute. Like,
he's out of position, still. He's
played 15.
Now, granted, he's played enough 15 now. I don't know, maybe 6 games at 15 to have a bit of experience there and get going. But he hadn't played 15 up until like not that long ago.
Yeah.
And he just looks so natural. Just a talented fella, isn't he?
The skill level across the board, like the passing, the kicking, the decision making, I thought, from...
This is bringing out, see how good the rugby was at the weekend.
Yeah.
This is making us... We're going to lose a lot of viewers and listeners.
I was thinking of that.
They're going to be like, these two actually like rugby.
I've coaxed you into it by talking about Ulster.
I'm falling for it.
But it was. I mean, the you have to be impressed as well with how Leinster managed that, with the variety of play they were throwing at them.
Yeah.
And like I think Draco pointed out in the commentary a few times where they were getting, they were out of position in the backfield, or the wingers weren't covering the backfield, and but they were kind of mixing it up. You know what I mean? They were making decisions. The back three for Leinster were kind of saying, okay, we have to close up hard here, or present it as a full wall, and then sometimes they'd cover the backfield a lot, and just both teams kept each other guessing. It was kind of shadow boxing for a lot of it, and the tries that both teams are scoring just came from relentless effort, and Byrne showed how good Leinster were when he got over for that try, keeping the ball, and I know you were impressed with McCluskey and Cave as well.
I thought they were very good.
Yeah, how they handled Leinster's attack.
Yeah, I thought. I know we're talking about that one play in particular that O'Driscoll drew attention to in commentary, where I think it's a little bit of a Welsh play, where 10 hits 12 on an early switch, and then 12 then plays off that.
I think they used to be called Wales or something like that as a move. I
think. You go. I would tell you what they call it at Ulster, but they tend to remain the calls for years to come, so they probably still call it the same thing. Yeah. But we used to do that back in the day with Paddy Wallace coming underneath, and he would play make from there. But I just thought Cave and McCluskey just read it so well. And then I think someone in commentary, I can't remember who it was, whoever was commentating with O'Driscoll, said if they'd whipped it across the front to Byrne, then he might have been in space. But you can see Cavey spotted that. Yeah. And just he has him, it's an option there, and he would have taken him if the ball had gone to him, but he just watched the flight of the ball, watched the body language, and then hit it on Dave Carney. I don't think it got turned over, but it was just it was nice to be play. Hadn't seen that in years.
Yeah, as Strickle said. Well, it's like that left hand scrum is the hardest place for a backline, especially at 13, to defend, because you're down your scrum half. So the scrum half is defending on the blind side, basically. So the ball goes in, and you could see Cooney was trying to get around, but it went so quickly. McGrath moved the ball so fast and Leinster were really at the line, attacked the line hard. Yeah. That then you're in Cave's position, and you've got two players running a full belt, one on an overs, one on a short line, and you've got to make a decision. Yeah. And he kept his left hand out to kind of show that he was kind of almost blocking the pass for Carney to make, and then the last second bounced in him.
Because I would imagine, I don't know, I would imagine the likes of McCluskey, Cave, who don't get a look in with Ireland really, but they're consistent performers. Obviously Cave would be in and out a little bit, but they tend to be consistent performers for Ulster. Luke Marshall comes off the bench, played brilliantly. Yeah, hasn't played in 10 months with an ACL. Comes back in, looks like it was just nothing to him. Yeah. He was brilliant as well.
Yeah, I was kind of, even from the Connacht game the other night, I was questioning a few players that hadn't played in a long time. I go, you can't just throw a player in there. If he hasn't played in 6 months, that was my go-to comment for the weekend. And then Luke Marshall comes off the bench after 10 months. And he threw that little offload, backdoor offload, and caught a couple of balls that...
He whipped one straight across the front as well, right to left.
Yeah, that was his first play, to Stockdale. And it's great to have that.
I'm the same though. I would be the same if I was a coach and I was picking. I'd be going, give him another week here. I mean,
it's obviously proved in training.
But you know yourself, in training, I just didn't. I don't know. I would have been nervous if that was me and I hadn't played in a year. Yeah. I mean, I get nervous. I used to get nervous the first game of the season because I hadn't played in 2 months. Yeah. I was going, I'm going to forget how to play rugby here. Fair play to him.
Yeah, that's would be a lot. No, I think, as you said, McCluskey and Cave, as Will Addison pointed out to us last week, how difficult it is to defend at 13. Yeah. And
Will, I remember Will.
Oh, Will. It went so well.
If you're watching, hi Will.
I wore the same clothes as him today. It's my new outfit now. But I think, hats off to Jared Payne again for the effort that he obviously is, and the difference he's made with the Ulster defence, because we have been a little bit critical of the amount of tries they've leaked at times, but I thought McCluskey and Cave were, just huge at the weekend.
We haven't talked about any forwards. Marcel Coetzee and Iain Henderson were enormous for Ulster.
Treadwell I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, Kieran was good.
Herring when he came on, what an effort for him.
Yeah.
You know, losing Rory Best obviously was a big blow, but then for him to come on and have that impact.
Yeah.
Massive.
Because Rhys Ruddock is a man who doesn't generally go backwards.
Yeah.
He's a talisman for Leinster, and both Hendy smashed him at one stage and Coetzee smashed him at one stage. When do you ever see that happening?
Yeah.
It was almost like that physicality was a little bit like kind of in moments what England did to Ireland.
Yeah.
Like all we've done is talk about Ulster, sorry.
Well, we have to continue and talk about the elephant in the room, and that is
that they lost.
Jacob Stockdale.
Oh, sorry.
You suppressed that memory already. Yeah. What's your take on that moment?
I thought after all Jacob's done for Ulster and Irish rugby over the last year and a half, and the fact that he got the ball, I thought Dan McFarlane summed it up perfect. Like the message he delivered after the game was, who else do you know when they get the ball 40 metres out, can brush off two Leinster defenders, step Jordan Larmour like he's not there, still maintain full pace, hand off Dave Carney, I think it was, and even get into a position to have any chance of scoring a try. I don't know. And actually, apart from that moment, it was obviously a mistake, you know, and he obviously should have dove on it, dived on it. But apart from that, I thought Jacob was unbelievably good the rest of the game.
I mean, the recovery he had from that, he caught up the next high ball, then a few minutes later put in that chip together.
Yeah.
And I thought he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. If he'd scored that, it'd been by a country mile the man of the match, probably. You know, I thought Murray Kinsella made a good point on Twitter. He put up a quote that Nigel Carlin, the Irish under-20s coach, said a few years ago, where Stockdale used to give him almost give him heart failure from how he would cross the ball or cross the line and not put the ball down and still be standing upright and try and kind of just slowly put it down. So he's obviously had that kind of habit for a long time, and what better way to kick it out of your system?
Yeah.
But as you said, like not many players in the world would have scored that. I think we're gonna have a clip from Dan McFarlane in a while that he'll talk about that after the game. But yeah, not many players in the world would be able to create something like that. So chin up.
Yeah, exactly. And when you score as many tries as he does, you know, every time you put the ball down with one hand, then you kind of roll the dice, I suppose.
Yeah.
I dropped the ball over the line. I think I've told you this before.
We've told you this many times. Yeah.
I've only done it once though.
Against Aironi.
That's what to call him. And I dived every single time after that.
Yeah, you've got to dive. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Do you want to listen to McFarlane now?
Yeah.
Pat's
got a clip from McFarlane after the match, so you might listen to that.
I think I know what you want me to say, and I'm not going to say that because I've been asked downstairs. I was asked the question 4 times. What about Jacob dropping the ball over the line? My answer to that is there are not many people in the world who can beat that many players to even get in a position where they put the ball down. I'm proud of Jacob. Jacob played a great game, did a lot of really good things in that. He's disappointed, but that's not the reason we lost the game. I'd say the key points in the first half where our collision work, our contact work wasn't good enough, and that's on me. You know, I'm the coach of that area. Leinster stole a few balls off us. We couldn't get our attack into the rhythm that when we did, showed some good glimpses or some really good aspects of our attack. Couldn't get that in the first half. It was much better in the second half.
Okay, that was Dan McFarlane there. But look, I suppose we can't not talk about Leinster because, as I said, championship winning side.
Talk about the Lannisters.
The Lannisters, yeah, they really put them to the sword at the end.
Yeah, they chopped Ned Stark's head off. That's right. We became the Starks.
He did kind of become the Starks for a moment. He made all the children watch as he chopped the head off. Sexton was just watching from the crowd, just like
off with his head.
Just one tear rolls down your face as you're trying to stay strong, but you're destroyed on the inside. But look, I thought Adam Byrne was great. Jack Conan, that try he made for Adam Byrne was brilliant, and great to see Luke McGrath back as well. I thought he brought a lot. Strange decision not to play James Lowe. What's taking that?
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, I think it's a strange one. Dave Carney went really well. Adam Byrne went really well. So you can fault them, to be fair. But James Lowe is a guy who changes games.
Big match player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't know.
I'd say it's because Luke McGrath is just back.
Yeah.
So having Gibson Park on the bench would give them that little bit of cushion there that if they didn't.
That
Gibson Park is a brilliant player, like absolutely brilliant player. But they didn't give him a lot of game time either, so they brought him on and brought him back off.
But you're saying though they only put him there just in case something. If Luke is that Luke's first game back?
No, I think he played the week before as well. Yeah.
So unless they thought there was a little bit of a risk there.
Yeah, probably. But I think going into the semi-final, if it was me, I thought Adam Byrne was brilliant. I think James Lowe would bring a little bit more than Dave Carney to the table, as well as Dave did. But I just love James Lowe. I know you do as well. I'd love to see him, especially against Toulouse. You need someone that will go out and just make it a bit of a war. And quickly touching on Toulouse, did you see that game yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Oof, it was incredible. 14 men after 22 minutes. They got a red card. And against Racing, you're just throwing the ball around all over the place.
Yeah.
But Toulouse just matched them. They just, they didn't play like up the jumper rugby.
Yeah.
Just played end-to-end stuff and scored some brilliant tries. So, topped off a brilliant weekend. So, yeah, it's going to be unbelievable. Again, I suppose they played them twice already this season, but
would they have any chance of beating them?
I think so. Yeah. Leinster will be. They'll be wounded a little bit after that game, and didn't play particularly well last week either. So I think they've only got Glasgow at home on the 13th before the semis. So that'll be a big game where they need to go out and put in a solid performance. And
Toulouse, they're coming from a warm climate. No, are they Daenerys and the dragons and all in that lot? Are they?
They could be.
Yeah.
Why not? They look kind of cool and sexy.
Yeah.
What's your man's name?
Cheslin Kobe.
Yeah.
He's Daenerys.
Yes. And Entomac is the big lad on the horse. The
You big man on the horse.
Her husband, what was his name?
Oh,
Carl Drogo.
Drogo.
He's a bit smaller, but
yeah,
he kind of looks like him. Yeah. It's going to be an unbelievable game. I want to go to all of these games, actually, the semis. They're giving me a semi.
They're giving me semis.
But can we I'll leave you talk about Ulster to give you a semi at the end of it. Final words for Ulster. Give us a little pep talk.
So this time last year, Ulster was an unpleasant place to be because we were struggling on the pitch. Off the pitch, there was a lot going on, a lot of distractions. Really, really difficult time for Ulster. Losing coaches, and then I was retiring.
I knew you were going to say that. Devastation.
So the whole team were in turmoil, and they were all grieving the loss. No, but it was unpleasant. Although it was still Ulster, and it was still a lot of guys I knew really well. I still loved the lads, but we were struggling and it was really tough. And every Monday morning, you were just going into work just going, this is crap, and I wanted to get out of there. So I was just so fed up with all this stuff. And just the fact that they've turned it around, I was so proud to be an Ulster supporter at the weekend there because they've come so far. Dan McFarlane's done an unbelievable job. And you can see from the start of the season, just gradually improving, and all the stuff he's implementing has come through more and more and more. Chatted to a few of the guys over the last couple of months, and they were saying not so much the last couple of seasons, but before that, when Ulster were competing in knockout stages of League and European Cup reasonably regularly, always getting beat by Leinster, to be fair. So nothing's changed in that respect. I think Leinster finished Ulster's season 5 years in a row or 4 years in a row or something.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. But a couple of guys have made the point, if Dan McFarlane had been in charge back then, we would have won silverware. Ulster would have won silverware.
Yeah.
And I think you can really start to see how that's realistic, how
Yeah.
far they've come.
Yeah, I think the positivity is brought to the group, and you saw, I think after the game, Henderson said in the press conference that the injection of youth into the team has obviously brought them to the next level as well, which I thought was a good point. You know, I was in a situation in Munster when I first came into Munster, and I remember a lot of the experienced players put a huge emphasis on how much they wanted the young players like Fla, Dowling, myself, Tomas, to come into the side and make, or Peter Stringer saying, make that number 13 jersey your jersey. You know, we want you to be on the field. We want you to want it, and it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Even get a tattoo of it.
He planted the seed. But I think that blend, when you get that from the experienced players, where they're not watching their back, they want the injection of you to bring it to the next level, to bring that ambition.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Ulster have got going for them now, and it's that the youthful vibrance that they have, where they want to go out and play.
Yeah.
And they're excited to play, and they're not fazed by anything. You know,
Yeah.
even though they're making mistakes, like Cooney missed that kick, he was straight back. It didn't faze him at first second. Stockdale made that mistake, and it was just back on the horse, and they go again.
Absolutely. The likes of Eric O'Sullivan, massive find this year. Nick Timoney's thrived this year.
Yeah.
Mike Laurie, a fullback, has been an unbelievable find. Balakoon. Jacob's still a youngster as well. You know, so they've all made big impacts, and they've brought the side on. So
well done, well said.
Well done, Ulster.
You've had your moment.
That's enough. I'll remain silent.
Okay, right. Stay with us for part 2, where we'll talk about that gritty Munster win over Edinburgh.
Rory briefly touched on it in the changing room there. A lot of the, as you said, very young squad, average age way down low 20s. A lot of the lads haven't been in changing room like this, but for them to get to this sort of playoff rugby and a lot of their first seasons of professional rugby, not even the first season of Ulster rugby, I think that's massive for a massive boost of confidence for them. What they can work on, that's their baseline now, and what they want to step forward to and build towards. We've seen from the start of the season people building on performances, and that's something I think that can be shown to all those young lads who can look to build on their performances, build on their career from this starting point of this season, and that's something I'm sure that they will use internally to drive them on for not only the next 6-8 weeks, but going on for the rest of their careers.
We are very fortunate to have Rory Scannell on the line here. How are you, Scans?
All good here.
Good, man. Huge weekend for Munster, but you're straight back into training this morning, I believe.
Yeah, it was a good weekend now, and it's a quick turnaround now. We've Cardiff on Friday night, so it's back in training, quick review of the game, and on to Cardiff now for this week.
Good stuff. I saw you were all down on the beach yesterday, swimming and eating ice cream and having the crack. What was that about?
Yeah, down in Lynch doing a bit of recovery. The water was a bit cold, so we weren't in there too long. Mainly eating grub.
Brilliant. Well deserved, man. How was the feeling on Saturday after that nail-biting finish against Edinburgh?
Yeah, it was a bit nerve-wracking at the end, but it was great to get over the line. I suppose it was such a tight game, and you know they're such a quality opposition as well. We knew it was going to be a tight one. There was only a scoring in the end, but yeah, it was a sense of relief, I suppose, really at the final whistle, and great to be back in the European semi now. Were you kind of watching the clock going, will I be needed to pull out my big hefty left boot for the last couple of minutes here? And were you conserving a little bit of energy possibly? I was trying, but there wasn't much scope for conserving energy, and I actually came off for that last passage of play with a bit of blood. So I was actually watching from the sideline, which was actually probably worse than being on the pitch. We were all outside the dugout waiting for the whistle. So yeah, it was a big relief when that went.
Scans after the drama at the weekend and the big finish and the securing European semi, is it a little bit miserable going back to Pro 14 this weekend?
Well, I can't really say it's miserable, but yeah, there's a great buzz on Saturday, and we're all in good spirits yesterday, and then I suppose you kind of have to put that behind you quickly enough, and we have to, I suppose, for 2 weeks now concentrate in the league, and we're hunting that first spot for the home semi, and we're chasing Glasgow, so it's it's a tough one to try and balance, and when you have a European semi in just over 2 weeks, so it's a bit of a mind shift, I suppose. But lads are looking forward to Friday night as well, playing back at home, and we're in Cork as well, which is great.
Oh yeah, loves Cork.
Yeah,
Cork. So.
Well, I hit it all.
We were talking before, and actually about Baz and I actually were talking about the kind of shift in attitude when it comes to a European match in Munster, where a lot of things will change on the week of a big European Cup game. You maybe have your meetings in a different room. You get the suit out. There's just a different kind of a build-up. Would that be fair enough?
It's a different kind of mindset, I suppose. With the history the club has in the European Cup, and I suppose it was our first time getting the suits out now in a couple of weeks at the weekend. But it's a bit more serious around the places. Lads are treading on thin ice what they're saying in meetings and whatnot, so it's a bit more tense around the place. But when you get to the actual game, it's pretty enjoyable, and obviously after the nail-biting finish and to get the win at the weekend, it's a big relief after, and you can kind of relax a bit then on Sunday.
Yeah, and big travelling support obviously on Saturday gave you a bit of a boost.
Yeah, it was massive. I think they're saying there's over 15,000 Munster supporters there, and it probably felt like a lot more. I think it was like 2 hours after the game ended. We were halfway on the bus, and we were barely able to get onto it. There was such a massive crowd outside waiting for us, all cheering, and it's great to have that support, especially when you're away from home. So yeah, credit to everyone that travelled really.
And have you had a chance to look at the Saracens game from Saturday, or are you looking that far ahead to the semi-final?
We haven't watched it yet. Now it was kind of saw bits and pieces of it in the post-match meal, but yeah, we haven't looked forward to that yet. We're just after reviewing the Edinburgh game now this morning, and I suppose that for the afternoon probably looking towards Cardiff, so we're not getting too ahead of ourselves yet.
One game at a time, Scans, yeah.
Exactly.
Trimble loves the cliches.
Sorry, no cliches allowed, Scans. Sorry, we're gonna have to cut that out,
yeah. So look, if it's a 5-day turnaround this week, did you have a bad knock to the head, or how you feeling?
All good, just a couple of stitches, so it should be all good for the weekend. So it's a quick turnaround. All the bodies are sore, so hopefully training today won't be too heavy.
Yeah, is it a pitch session this afternoon?
Yeah, on the pitch this afternoon. Yeah, wow. So it should be a short enough session.
Yeah, I think the ball was in play for about 9 minutes of the last 10 minutes on Saturday, and as much as I was screaming at the television, it didn't really make a difference to how players looked absolutely fucked and exhausted. So God, that must be hard to get up and get yourself out on a Monday morning to train again.
Yeah, luckily for half of that 9-minute period, I was actually sitting in the dugout, so I was getting my breath back. But yeah, a few lads were pretty knackered after it, and it can be tough getting out of bed on the Monday morning, getting in and looking forward to a bit of running. But I suppose it has to be done, really, doesn't it? You all know yourselves.
And just on a personal note for you, man, we've talked about you a few times in the show and how well you've adjusted to playing at 12. You're probably naturally at 10, maybe 15 a little bit growing up. But was it first when you came into Munster? Was that the first time you've really played at 12?
Yeah, I think it was under 20. Myself and JJ would have been playing under 20s together, and he was playing at 10, so they decided to move me out to 12, and yeah, I suppose since then really I've kind of stuck at it. I've played 10 a few times since, I suppose, but now I'm enjoying it. And I suppose when you play 10 as well, you kind of know what you're looking for from your centres, and probably another set of eyes, which is try and be as big a help as I can for Joey and JJ and Tyler and all the boys. So yeah, I'm enjoying 12 now at the minute, so it's good.
Is it nice to have someone like Chris Farrell? Obviously, both of you have got a serious skill set, but is it nice to have someone you're going, listen, I don't really fancy that much traffic. Give it to the big, enormous hoover outside me.
Yeah, give it to the big man from 5 Mile Town. He loves a good hard line for himself, as you know. Yeah. So we're always flagging him that he thinks he's a playmaking centre, but really we just use him on all those hard lines and the big carries, and then free up myself and whoever's at 10. So yeah, we like sending him up as much as we can, even though he hates it himself.
He's that's greedy enough from him, isn't it? He thinks he's got it all, but I mean, if you're that big, you just stick to what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to send him on a few decoys every now and again to set a few defenders for everyone else. So he's not too happy about it.
And come here, I have to ask you about Byrne. His theatrics on Saturday for the penalty. Did he get much of a slagging for that?
Yeah, I suppose he did. No Trimble, excuse the cliches here, but he got a bit of a slag, and he was saying his Twitter account was going a bit mental, alright. Even his girlfriend was giving him a bit of a stick about it, so he's taken a bit of stick this morning, alright. But I suppose it went in our favour as well, and it worked out, thankfully, but we don't like seeing people diving too much in rugby.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I saw Murray Kinsella made a point about Ross Moriarty during the season, who didn't dive in a situation like that and was kind of questioning the ref, like, what do you want me to do, throw myself on the ground, or are you just going to spot it for what it is? So it is tough.
We were actually laughing because Jeremy Lockman actually pushed him as well, who was standing inside him, which probably made it look a bit worse. So Ty's getting all the stick, but I think Jed's actually made it look a lot worse than it was.
Very good. Well, look, yeah, all that matters is that you took advantage, and fair play to Earlsy. What's it like playing with a guy like that, able to produce those 2 moments of magic and score?
Yeah, it's unreal. He's ridiculous pace. So I was only saying at the weekend when I'm chasing kickoffs inside him, I feel like I'm about 10 metres behind him every time the ball's kicked. But it's great to have a guy like that on the wing that you can rely on in those moments. And he's a top class finisher. And that first try, no one even had reacted, and he was over the line. So he had a great game at the weekend, and he's playing some great rugby.
He's an absolute golden balls at the minute, Earlsy, isn't he? He's like a fine wine.
He can't stop.
Yeah.
He's getting better with age, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year, Irish Player of the Season, he's just kicked on.
He's just won he's about to win our Baz and Andrew Player of the Weekend. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
So he'll be absolutely thrilled with that one as well. But look, Scans, we'll leave you there, man. Thanks a million for joining me. I know you're going out in the pitch train this morning, so cheers and best of luck on Friday night, and of course best of luck in the semi-final.
Cheers, lads. I'll chat to you soon.
Cheers, guys.
See you later. All right, well, that was Rory Scannell there, and that leads us in talking to about the Munster Edinburgh match 1913. As you said, tough game, to be fair.
Edinburgh were brilliant.
Yeah, they're a top side, like.
Yeah.
Very physical, serious back row, obviously stole a lot of ball. And, very tough game for Munster, and you have to take our hats off to them. I think a lot of people were critical of maybe how Munster attacked during the game, but they've got this very set way of playing now that we all have kind of come accustomed to, and it's defence based for sure, but like the amount of pressure they absorbed and never looked like they were really going to crumble on Saturday. I thought it was brilliant. I mean, Edinburgh would be disappointed with themselves for not taking the opportunities at the start.
I think so. They were better for long periods.
They had the ball. They had possession. Whether they were better or not, it's hard to know. Like, I mean, for the 10 minutes that Byrne was sin-binned.
No, I know. Fair enough.
You'd think they would have scored. And not only did they not score, Munster went and scored and applied pressure, and then made some unbelievable defensive efforts. Like, there was a point where they after Earlsy's first try, they kicked off, turned over Munster in their 22 and had the ball, and Munster ended up driving them the whole way back to their halfway line. But I don't think people really noticed, because it wasn't any huge hits. It gradually happened. They just kept pushing them back until the
Yes,
halfway line.
yeah. There wasn't a moment when you were like, "Whoa, what a piece of defense!" You're like, "Hold on a minute."
Yeah.
They were there a while back.
Yeah.
Neither.
After 10 phases, they just pushed them back.
They must have done something remarkable.
Yeah.
And we've not really noticed it.
Just gotta keep dragging them slowly back. But it's, you know, their defensive effort, they're constantly on their feet, constantly with line speed in your face. And it's just really consistent. They cover the backfield really well, even with that. And then they had another one where Jack O'Donoghue turned them over on their line. It was the third time they'd gone to the corner, as opposed to taking the points, which I thought was pretty arrogant out of Edinburgh to go to the corner 3 times in a row. And Munster just kept getting on the feet, kept taking them down, stopping them, and then Jack O'Donoghue finally got in the ball. And that was without both their second rows. John Klein had gone off, and Ty Byrne was sin-binned. So, I mean, Billy Holland does make a massive impact anytime he comes on, but, you know, it wasn't easy. And then they lost Carberry, they lost Jack O'Donoghue, so they were quite up against it, but they kept their composure, I thought, for the whole game.
Yeah. There's a few aerial collisions as well. There's a bit of a battle with Conway and your man. Conway gave away a penalty at one stage. One of those.
Yeah.
And for me, that's not a penalty.
It's kind of just that grey area, you know, where if someone wins the ball and they fall awkwardly, the penalty's going to go. As long as it's not a yellow card, I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? It's like we were saying about Stockdale and Byrne, where their timing is so good, whereas when it's not, it's dangerous, you know?
Yeah, but I thought that Conway tracked the ball, and his hands were on, like, if not on the ball, very close. And he still gets penalised for that. I thought it was very harsh.
Yeah. It is. It's just that grey area. I don't think that's ever going to change.
Yeah.
As long as they're not yellow cards, I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Attack-wise for Munster, I think, as I said, like, they've got this formula where they go no play in their own half. It's just kick everything. Murray butts up box kicks, and they get a good return out of it. Then when they get into their opposition half, it's still the occasional box kick, but they just try and get to 2 or 3 phases, and then they'll see where they stand, and then they'll probably kick it. But my worry is going into the Saracens game is whether they can actually score points.
Well, isn't that the way Saracens play as well, though? Saracens don't they only play when it's on their terms. Whenever they kind of feel like it's, I don't know, it's a pretty sensible approach, but it's been very successful for Saracens.
I think they'll play a little bit more rugby. They'll go a few more phases maybe. Munster only seem to play 3 or 4 phases and then they'll kick, whereas Sarries will have enough brute force from Vinapola and Barrett and these big players they have that will always get them over the gain line, and then they'll keep going.
Yeah.
And if it exhausts after 7 or 8 phases, then they'll kick. It's going to be a tough game for Munster. I thought they finished the game very strongly. Their defence was pretty good, and once they did get close to Edinburgh's 22, they looked like they could score at all the time and at all times, you know. And Earls, he obviously with a brilliant finish in the last minute. Good to see Connor have a little dart as well, and then just good hands in the corner. So once they get into the 22, they'll score. But it's how often. I think they only got in there once in the first half, scored.
Right?
They didn't get in there till the 44th minute, and then a second time, and then I think only 3 times in the second half. So that'd be the biggest concern going into the Sarries game. But Sarries, they're very impressive. Jesus. Farrell missed the game as his wife was in labour. That means Andy Farrell is now, they had a baby boy. He's now a grandfather at 44 years of age. And he looks younger than both you and I.
You and I put together.
Pretty disgraceful. Alex Q played good at 10 though, and I thought Liam Williams was unbelievable fullback. They bait the balls out of them.
They bet the testicles off them.
They did. Glasgow put up a little bit of a fight, but in the end, no, they were too strong. They're just so big, man. They're enormous, and they're just good rugby players. You know, they play some deadly rugby as well. So. Yeah,
I think Saracens always just seem unbelievably well coached and well organised, and they're just a machine, aren't they? So I think Munster have their hands full. Yeah,
Jamie George made some brilliant piece of play, but brilliant piece of skill. I think he was involved in pretty much every try they scored that day. So a lot of work to do, Munster, and I think just maybe increasing their options in attack. A few more is the only way they're gonna turn over Saris. But look, cannot wait for both those games. So yeah, look, join us in part 3 where we will do our rugby roundup.
Hello there. We here at Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby want to just thank you all for listening to and watching Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby.
It's unthinkable to me that you may not be already subscribing, so wrong that right and do it now, why don't you? Just press the old subscribe button and let us know what you'd like to listen to. Any of the conversations that haven't tickled your fancy, just tell us and we'll stop talking about them.
We like to see ourselves as a community here, or a family, if you will, like Cousin Barry and creepy Uncle Andrew.
Uncle Andy.
So we love to hear what exactly it is that makes you listen to Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby.
I actually forgot what I was going to say. You know what I was just driving? Because it's for the life of me, I just I've got no chance. I'll never do this. Like, it's getting awkward now, so
that'll be the one that breaks it. Yeah.
Some of our listeners and viewers enjoy the show, but are as yet unsubscribed. Selfish. Because there are a lot of people just like you who love the show but haven't had exposure to it yet. Help us help them.
For just one click or one comment every week, you can help many people subscribe to Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to the House of Rugby roundup. And hello to those watching on Instagram TV. Hello.
Hi. Hi, Will.
Hi, Will. How are the ducks? So Munster and Leinster march on. In Europe, Ulster fans left to focus on the Guinness Pro 14. So too are Connacht after they're beaten by the Sale Sharks in the Challenge Cup on Friday. Very frustrated watching it because they didn't start their full team, and I was very excited about the idea of them beating Sale, going over there, getting into the semi-final. They've been playing so well. They were kind of on the crest of a wave, but I can understand why they didn't start the full side.
What's their run in the rest of the season?
They've Zebra away this weekend, and they've Cardiff at home. Two kind of must-win games.
Then Munster's the last game of the season for them away.
Yeah. So they.
So with Zebra away, then if it was Munster away, then next weekend you can understand why they would have rested a few guys.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not a gimme, but it's not that difficult a fixture to go to Zebra away.
Yeah, and it's
to compromise what they had at the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, if they, I think when you leave out Butler, Fainga,
Delahunty,
and not even on the Delan, not even on the squad.
Yeah.
Tom Farrell, for me, they're 5 of their best players in a game like that. Going over there, what a time to kind of boost what they've been doing already.
Does that
keep the ball rolling?
Yeah. Does the decision to rest those guys cheapen the second tier European tournament, or does it actually enhance and enrich the domestic tournament? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does almost like a bit of a top 14, like a French mindset? This is our league and this is our bread and butter.
Well, no, because the reason they're doing it is so they get into the European Cup, isn't it? So that's why they're doing it. If you finish,
yeah, okay, yeah.
So
it's a means. Yeah, it's a means.
Yeah, but look, it was. It wasn't a great game. They couldn't do it without those players, basically, in my mind. Even not starting Quillen Blade, I would have started him. I would have started him and Carty because he's been playing so well, and that's the way Andy Friend has been playing this season. Been
just giving his best players or the guys that are playing best the week before, giving them the opportunity. And I thought Marmion took a while to get going. He hasn't played a lot of rugby of late. And
they've been in and out a bit, have they not?
Not really. Blade has played most of the rugby this year because Marmion's been injured. And he played unbelievably well last weekend. And yeah, just without Farrell, who's been such a solid guy in the centre for them as well. I thought it was a strange game. Flef de Klerk was unbelievable for Sale. As we were talking about that left-hand scrum, where it's very hard to defend. So he just found himself, I'd say, have 4 or 5 of those in the game where he was attacking scrum half, and he would just pick and go and flake at their out half, draw in all 4 defenders at some point and whip passes at the back. It just shows a world class. He basically won the game on his own, like world class player on his own. So it's great to see. I think there could be a lot more of that kind of scrum half play in my eyes.
More scooting off scrums.
Just more attack minded, quick ball, having a dart. Cooney did it well the other night. It's just sometimes the ball can slow down a lot, and that's one of the reasons why. But yeah, look, they've got a huge chance to still put a big stake in for the.
And they picked up a couple of injuries though as well.
They did.
Bielam,
did he fracture his arm, Pat?
No, it was like he actually came out afterwards and said there was no breakage in his hand, but he must have had his hand gashed open because there was blood everywhere.
Oh, shit.
And he couldn't even look at it. They had to cover it with a towel as he came off. It must have got a stud through it or something like that. So but
nasty.
Yeah, and then Carthy did his bicep.
He tore his bicep, or he strained it anyway. They're struggling for out halves at the moment. Ronaldson's injured, Horowitz is injured, Kyle Godwin has had to go in there last week, so he'll probably play again, and he did really well actually, so he'll probably play again next weekend. On a personal note, I want to say congratulations to UL Bows, captained by the incredible Niamh Briggs, who won the Women's Club All-Ireland at the weekend, beating Blackrock 17-5. Well done.
Well done.
Thank you. My old club. Gotta give them the kudos. Now I asked you to vote on the Guinness Made Him More Player of the Weekend, and here were your nominees: Jack Conan, Ross Byrne, Munster's Keith Earls, and Ulster Loch Kieran Treadwell. Thanks for your votes and comments. The winner is Keith Earls.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, love it. 2 opportunistic tries and leading from the front. Well done, Nails.
Fair play to you, Earlsy.
Yep. We also put a shout for Twitter questions using the hashtag AskHOR. And as we mentioned at the top, we were flooded with responses. So here are some of the best. Quaylen asked, if the worst come to worst and Dan Levy doesn't make the World Cup and Sean O'Brien or Josh van der Fleer don't make it, how strong is our depth at 7 and who travels to Japan? Good question.
Scott Penny going to get an opportunity, not to go to the World Cup, but towards the end of the season, get an opportunity for Leinster, and then you never know.
I think he's been brilliant. Not sure about the World Cup. I've not been in a squad before. I'd say, he might get a game against. He'll definitely get a couple of games in the next few Pro 14 games.
Yeah.
And he'll probably be on the bench for Leinster against Toulouse. Outside of that, I'd say Jordy Murphy.
Jordy Murphy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I look any further, he's been unbelievable for Ulster this season. He's done a job for Ireland a lot in the past, and he's an out-and-out 7. So
what's going on with Sean O'Brien? Ginger Sean O'Brien from Connacht?
He hasn't played in a while. He's been out.
Is he injured?
But he was good at the start of
the
season.
He was going unbelievably well at the start of the season,
Yeah. Well, look, they do have a lot of opportunities in the August friendlies to play these guys. But it is a big concern. I think Josh van der Fleer is hoping to make it back. He's out with a groin injury, but I'd say he'll make it. Dan Levy, that looked like a nasty injury. Bless him, Jesus. He just after coming back. And I was watching it again last night, just watching the game back, and I hadn't seen his injury in the first time, so I was kind of watching to see when it happened, and it could have happened at every single ruck he was involved in. He just throws himself in there. Doesn't look after himself at all, so you have to feel for him. Al Lochnan asked, should Ross Byrne start in the semi-final even if Sexton is fit?
He's definitely putting his hand up. I mean, he's a legitimate option, and it's actually a conversation. Whereas in the past, it was never even in question. So
yeah,
I definitely think they'd have a conversation about it.
Yeah, that kick at the end when he's either cramping or something was going on with his ankle or foot, he was limping basically.
Yeah,
it's a kick from the touchline. I thought that was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it'd be hard for them not to pick Sexton if he's fit.
I mean, a couple of months ago, he was the best player in the world.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think you can give him a bit of an opportunity to kind of get back to where he was. Not that he's a million miles off it anyway.
Yeah. Well, look, hopefully that will answer all your questions. Please keep them coming, and we do like the silly questions as well. So keep them coming. So yeah, that's it. Thanks everybody for comments, questions, for listening on all our favorite apps, and for watching us on YouTube. Big thank you to everyone that was involved in making the show this week: Fiona, Shane, Ian, Anthony, and of course Pat. This has been Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby.
Party on, Baz.
Together with Joe.
Oh,
you're on, Joe.
Jump the gun.
Together with Guinness.
Party on, Baz.
Party on, Andrew.